So last night, the finale of Born Again season two took place, and I will say that the finale is the third best finale behind original season one and season three, and better than season two of the original, and better than Born Again season one. Now, with that being said, I do think Born Again season two as a whole, now that the season's all out, watch the whole season like I did with the first season. I do think Born Again season two is better than season one all over. Like it is just from start to finish, it is a better, more consistent, more focused, put together plot, story, ending than season one was. Because if we all remember, season one had the issue with the writer switch around. Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio had some input on how the show should go, and there are very clear signs of what was still from the original idea of Born Again to what we have now. Thank God it ended up being better than it was, and now season two is a step forward from season one. Now, let's go in. I mean, season two, it pretty much starts off with the whole streets vigilante act being pretty much full force. Kingpin, full blooded martial law in it. The streets are statistically safer, and everything seems good until you find out behind the doors he's been locking people up illegally with his task force. Now, one of the things that is unfortunately disturbing about the season is that it's scarily identical to what's been going on in real time, which I had a feeling he weren't going to be afraid to do that. But as the mayor, I'm like, that's a little too much power. Like, I mean, who knows? I don't know what mayors really can do, but Mayor Fisk felt like he was the president, for real, for real. Like, my man was doing whatever, however, whenever, making his own task force, being able to lock people in cages. Like, my man Kingpin was going in on this joint. Now, given the stakes of Matt just seems to be in hiding, Matt Murdock seems to be kind of what we would say outlawed, but more so they're trying to look for him so that they can bring him in and Kingpin can have him. Whole time Matt's kind of dodging him, even though Kingpin knows he's out there. Now, my whole thing is Karen was just kind of there. It's weird that Karen didn't really feel as important or as useful because if you remember the original series, Karen was the shit. Like Karen was goaded the whole season, every season, no matter what season it was, one, two, or three. In this show, Daredevil Born Again, Karen really just feels like she's there and it's nice to have her, but she's not super important. Now that could change with season three based on how season two just ended. And I'll get into that into later on into the video. I was very happy that he did a lot of Daredevil stuff this season, but I was very happy to see him do more like interacting with the people, having the people be involved in his taking down the Mayor Fisk instead of him just running up into the mayor's office and just beating his ass. Like he had to work it from the top, like how do we bring him down? We're going to bring him down with this. We're going to do this. We stop some drug smuggling, which is a very important part of the season. And then he's slowly getting people round up together to bring down Fisk. The problem with the season as a whole, at least early on, was it seemed like they were juggling too many things. You were juggling the whole Matt and Karen trying to take down Fisk, the whole thing with Heather and her going psychologically insane after what happened in season one. Then you got the whole thing with Kirsten, and you just got some stuff with the Matthew Lillard thing with Kingpin. Vanessa's got her own thing. The best part of the season, which was Bullseye. Bullseye is the best part of the season, in my opinion, and he is great. Wilson Bethel, you are a gem. I love you. Thank you. But there was all these different things going on throughout the season. And I was a little concerned that they were gonna like kind of screw that up. They didn't. Some things are still not resolved because some of them are being waited for the third season with Heather and with what happens to Matt at the end of the season. We already know Fisk is back in the third season. I really don't know what else they can do with him now that he's done been at the top of the power. Now he's back down to the bottom. We don't know. Now, as far as like the people side of it all, they introduce another hero with White Tiger, who Lil Ayala is White Tiger in the comics, his niece. So that whole thing happened, in the comic, White Tiger gets gunned down by the cops, and now she's White Tiger, which they kind of went down that road, and she's White Tiger, and we see her doing stuff as White Tiger, which I was kind of frustrated with because I was like, we're never gonna see her outside of Born Again. Like I don't think she's no one cares enough about her to see her do a bunch of stuff. I mean, she could just be more involved with the street stuff, and she shows up in Daredevil or Jessica or Luke or Iron, like who knows. But as far as I'm concerned, they set her up, but that's not there's not going to be much payoff with that. I could be wrong, but it's not likely. Um, Now, if I had to talk about one of the things I was happiest about was seeing Jessica return, which was one of the happiest things they were announcing when they started working on season two. Is that Kristen Ritter was coming back? I thought she was one of the best parts of the old Marvel Netflix series, and to see her back was great. I felt like it was a little underwhelming because they had to bring her back in the middle of a bunch of other stuff they were already juggling, and JJ had her crap that she was dealing with on the side with Matthew Lillard, with Luke, and all this. There's just so much stuff going on. Now, I hope that something happens with her where we get more of her. She's still doing alias investigations, which is cool. So maybe there'll be some more stuff with that going forward. It, Born Again season two's had a lot going on, but they still handled it better than I think season one would have handled it. Season one was just a lot, but still good. But season two had a lot, but it was awesome. Now, that being said, it is a very good story. I love the fact that Matt is pretty much kind of retreading season three where Fisk has some power, but this time he has more public power, more public domain power than in season three where he's doing everything under the rest but still doing this as thorough house arrest. Great, epic. Now, what's going on with that whole situation is Matt trying to A, fight the task force while B, fighting Fisk while C, just going through the motions at the time. It's a lot for Matt. I love the scene where he breaks out swordsman, and a bunch of the people who were detained by the task force. That scene's awesome. That's like our one shot for the season. Not my favorite one shot, but it was cool as hell. It was just an interesting season. It was an interesting season to go from that one shot to some really cool action sequences to some really cool psychological moments. The flashback episode with Foggy was nice. We got to see everything from the very beginning, like before the events of even the Daredevil show took place, which I thought was really cool to kind of tie everything together officially, formally. Uh, yeah, the season was just overall epic. Now, if I had to say certain things I thought was kind of pointless, like BB Urich felt kind of pointless. Like she didn't really have to be here. I mean, yeah, she was doing the whole mocking Fist, making fun of his whole thing, and I kind of outing him and showing him like people he was a sleaze. But that still didn't really feel that important. And then when she outed herself in the last episode as the person doing it, what did that really do? Nothing. We didn't see her after that. Uh, my man Lil Soprano, I mean, he was cool. I guess he was kind of a tool bag, but he was cool in the end. My man Buck, the really cool, not Wesley guy, was cool. But again, he was just around to be the sexy, cool, not Wesley guy. Just so many people in the show in the season. Now we're gonna get into the best stuff because Gloves Off is by far the best episode. I do think Gloves Off is the best episode. That is the halfway point. Stuff starts getting crazy. People see him kind of fisk out a little bit in the boxing ring, even though it's supposed to be an exhibition fight for charity. Bullseye's doing bullseye shit because it opens up with probably the best scene in the season or second best scene, which is the diner sequence. It is beautiful and just it's just so awesome to watch. Wilson Bethel, as I said, you are incredible. And it ends with a very, very unfortunate situation taking place. I won't spoil it because I want people to watch the season, but it's a great moment that was kind of coming anyway. And then in the next episode, that whole thing happens. But I think that next episode is we finally see JJ for the first time, and hell yeah, JJ. And then the stuff just kind of spirals downhill from there. And I think what I'm going to go into is the final episode because you can't really break it down from episodes; it's too long. But just going into some key moments here. The final episode is fire as hell. It pretty much is the culmination of everything that went down in season one, that built up to what's going on in season two. Everything built up in season two And most of the big stuff with Fisk is wrapped up. We know we're going to see him again in season three because there's already been set photos of him shown from Daredevil Born Again season three. He's filming, so we know he's going to be there. But I thought everything was so cool. The little parallels. Kingpin kind of gets his own hallway fight scene. It's kind of insane. Then, you know, Matt and JJ are kind of fighting in their own little hallway, and they kind of meet in the middle at the one part of the city hall area. It was a really cool concept, actually, kind of like a parallel thing. It's really cool. Uh, the way Matt beats Fisk is they don't duke it out fist, they duke it out in the courtroom, and it might have one of the best moments in the Daredevil Born Again show, period. And I don't think it's better than the I Beat You scene from season three of the original, but it's damn up there. It is a great sequence. It is a very awesome court sequence that takes place. Now, it's weird because in this show, I have all three of Matt's love interests in the same room. Because I have Heather, I have Karen, and then Kirsten. In the comics, Kirsten is a love interest of Matt. We're not going to get that in the show, I don't think. They don't seem to be like that. But all three of Matt's love interests in the comics or in the show are in the same room. And obviously, if you ever read the comics, you know, Karen dies from drugs. Kate hangs herself, and Kirsten. I don't remember if Kirsten dies or not, but they're all still alive. Is what I'm saying. So that's kind of a thing, and we don't know what's going to happen with season three. I just know that Heather is probably going to lady muse because she put the mask on. And she's all like, and she's all brooding about it. So I think there's going to be like a lady muse section, which does happen in the comics, by the way. There's like a lady muse thing that happens in the comics. And basically, what we're probably going to get is Devil's Reign, which was Matt being in jail, which is how the season ends, by the way. Spoiler alert. Matt gets sent to prison. And it's a very, very implication of that comic where Matt ends up in jail. It starts off there, and I guess he breaks out. And that also kind of leads into my suspicion that Spider Man's probably going to go to jail to either A, where we see that shot of him fighting the hand, where A, he breaks Matt out of prison, or B, he goes to prison to talk to Matt about something because he's the only person who would probably give him the answer. That's just my suspicion of why Spider Man would be dealing with the hand in A Brand New Day, is because it does take place under Daredevil, and then that Punisher One Last Kill thing, which comes out next week, takes place in between Born Again season two and Brand New Day, which I guess ties both of them together. Maybe that's just my suspicion. Now, we do see Punisher in Daredevil in Brand New Day. We don't see Punisher in Born Again season two. If that is the case and I'm correct, holy hell, they are really finally just kind of connecting all the street level heroes. Which means I finally get Spider Man and Daredevil together. Maybe we'll get like Tom Holland in Daredevil Born Again season three, and Spider Man hangs out with Daredevil. Who knows? It would be nice. It would be nice to see Spider Man and Daredevil hang out as Spider Man and Daredevil, but if not, fine, sure, whatever. But it's just it's wishful thinking. But anyway, all in all, it was good to see the show have a very consistent situation and how great it was, how much of a good watch it is. The violence is beautiful. It's all there. Now, can I say season three is going to be better than season two? I can't say yes or no. We do know that the Defenders cast is back. Mike Coulter, Finn Jones, JJ, Matt, they're all in the same season together. That feels so nice. Now, what they're dealing with, I don't know. Me personally, I want a season where Bullseye is the villain and they just deal and Matt has to deal with Bullseye, and that just be the final season. So maybe not season three, but if there is a season four, Matt just deals with Bullseye and Bullseye is just the villain, or like Typhoid Mary and Bullseye. Because I know apparently that was the plan for the original season four, was Typhoid Mary stuff. So I would like that. I mean, we can get Alice Eve back in the room. You know what I mean, like I would like to see something else than Fisk. It's been five times where Fisk is the big bad from start to finish. I would like to see someone else. Maybe the hand is going to be an issue in season three of Born Again, and we don't know yet. That's why they're in Spider Man. Maybe that leads into Born Again season three, and they got to come back together like defenders and deal with the hand. I don't know. I don't know. But it just, all in all, like I would like something else, something fresher, something newer for the next season. I don't want Fisk again for the sixth time. So that's just my opinion of where I would like things to go forward. Me personally, I think Born Again Season 2 is fantastic. It is probably one of the best things in the MCU in a very long time. That's, Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four were great last year. Not too many things were great before that. Like WandaVision was amazing, and Hawkeye was great. I like Wakanda Forever enough, but like a lot of the MCU films haven't been some of my favorites. And that's where we seem to go. A lot of the shows I don't love a lot. I don't love most of the shows. Like the one show I do love is WandaVision and Hawkeye, but other than that, not really. So it's like, okay, well, thank God the quality of the MCU is kind of starting to middle itself out with the last few things, and Born Again is just fantastic. And again, even season one is still good, but season two is clearly a better step up. So season three has a shoe to fill going into the next season. So again, all in all, Born Again season two is fantastic. I definitely say watch it. It is definitely a recommendation from me as a big Daredevil fan. And I would love for you guys to let me know how you feel down below. Like, comment, subscribe for more. I will see you on the next one.